So I just wanted to know about you and how this podcast came to be and what that process was like.
Okay, good. I know exactly where that came from. Okay, so really my career has been in bacon sales. Mm-hmm. It's not really the career I dreamed of as a kid. I mean, I grew up here in Comanche. My family's been here since the late 1800s. Always ranching, and my dad's my hero. I used to crawl into his bedroom by his side of the bed trying to be real quiet so he'd step on me when he's, and I'd wake up and I could go with him. So that's just kind of originally where I come from and what I was doing when I thought, podcasting. So I'm building this bacon business with my best friend. My wife's a part of it. His wife's a part of it. And I'm just trying to get better because, I mean, I don't know. I just need to. I think it's kind of a crucial piece of ever reaching for your potential. I don't know if we'll ever actually grab our full potential, but we always kind of need to be reaching for it. I'm trying to get to it. My wife's a marketer. She has the marketing kind of thought process about everything. And she's mentioned this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk one time. So I start listening to his podcast, and I'm in Lambkin, Texas. I'm driving, I'm not even sure what vehicle, but one of the vehicles that I just make this commute to Hamilton because that's where our bacon production plant is. And he says, if you're not podcasting, you're getting behind. I went straight to the office, bought microphones, this recorder we're using right here. I got lucky and bought that first thing. Then there was just a long journey, and it's been 3 years since then. I started the Cowboy perspective really because it was one thing I was like, I know this, and it's evolved to this ferreting out, coming up with, grabbing for your greatness, and how that was really, taught to me, trained into me by cowboys and cowgirls and those people that raised me. That's kind of where the cowboy perspective comes from, and the podcast is really just a way to share that.
I like that. Always reaching. So what are when people are coming over and listening for the first time, what are you wanting them to take away for themselves?
I do not care. I'm not particularly super focused. And this is not a great marketing truth. I mean, if you're going to have a great fan base, listenership, etc., you should be super focused. My wife puts it to me this way, and I'm a rambler. So this is partially, it's going to be unfortunate for you kind of filming through or listening through all these this audio and trying to put an article together. But she puts it like this: Neil, you people come to your podcast, they don't know for sure what they're going to get. Like when you go to the pen to catch a horse, you're going to get a ranch horse because that's the horse that's sitting out there. That's the one you need. It's the one you know how to use. What would you do one day? You walk out there and it's a Spanish prancing pony. How would you feel about that? You wouldn't be getting the thing that you want. You would now be not having the tool you're looking for. So that's kind of a piece of the podcast that I need to get better at. But the true answer to your question is I have not fully developed that. I can't say that I even necessarily care, because I pray to God that these conversations are valuable to someone. And me talking to you is going to be valuable to someone. Your story, we're going to get to that eventually somehow in this process, is special and interesting and valuable. So, and I think God will have that person that needs to hear that listen. And if it's 10 million people, yay, I probably can monetize that. If it's 10 people, I can't monetize it, but it's still yay. It's helped some person. It helps me. I'm selfish. It helps me meet people. It helps me talk to people I want to talk to. So there you go, folks. If you're kind of hoping to know what you're going to get when you come to the Cowboy perspective, I can't tell you what that is. It's going to be honest, real, human beings who may be famous, who may not be famous, but I guarantee you have great insight into how to live a beautiful life. There you go.
How has Comanche County accepted this? I mean, rural Texas, and you bring a podcast to it. Is it?
Yeah. Well, most people don't even know it exists. Like, really, most of the people that listen aren't from Comanche County. And part of that Comanche history series we did was a way to get them listening. And really, the very best promotion I ever get for the podcast is those popular people locally that come on and I talk to, and then they don't like to promote themselves. It's kind of this humble cowboy perspective thing. Like, I'm like, hey, share it on your Facebook. Oh, I don't know. People, I don't think anybody gonna want to hear what I have to say. Well, yeah, but just do it for me, please.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll do it. And then that episode gets a whole lot of attention, listens, engagement, all those things, which means there's some value exchange. That's why engagement matters. There's value exchange there. If nobody's engaging, they're not getting anything they care about. And sometimes it's just a thing they're interested in, or they like that person. Most of my, I would say, listeners in the, close, let's say 50-mile radius of Comanche, Texas, are mom's friends. Because, every mom's proud of their kid, and they say, did you know Neil does a podcast and you should listen to it? And, oh, give me your phone. Let me show you. It's this little purple button right here. That's podcast on your iPhone. So that's how a lot of people find out about it. And once they pick it up, like, I got a good friend. He knows, because I'm like this podcast weirdo. Like, I'm always saying, did you listen to this podcast? Have you heard about this? I listened to this. It was super awesome. I loved it. People, I think, kind of start going the other way when they see me coming, because they know I'm going to say something about that. But that's okay. I can't help it.
That's your thing.
Yeah, right. Everybody has their thing. Well, this Comanche series happened. He started listening. He's a fireman. He drives back and forth to like Austin somewhere where he does his work. And he's listened to like tons of episodes now. And he's like, man, this stuff is good. I'm like, thank you. I know. But it is good. I enjoyed it. It helps me. So there you go. That's where, the acceptance locally is sporadic. And I think some of it's just, what's a podcast?
Right.
I think podcast is like everybody knows about it. Truth is, almost nobody knows about it. So there's a challenge. And I think, and what I also love about it, it is a thing I've left for my great-great-grandkids.
That's what I was going to ask.
If they don't get rid of audio, my great-great-grandkids, and there might be something that gets rid of audio where we don't even talk anymore. You and I are just thinking, and, there's no sound, and we're just communicating. I can think that idea, so it could possibly happen. Like, I guarantee you, in 1850, when they were walking in wagons to Comanche, Texas to settle it and build this place, they didn't picture what we're doing and how this goes to the world. One of my guests, I said, oh yeah, it goes to the world. Anybody that can hook up to an RSS feed, get on one of these apps, can listen.
Right.
He's 92 and it blew his mind. He's just like, really? How? I'm like, I really can't tell you how, Mr. Wilson, but it does happen. Turned out, I looked at his episode. There's been people in Singapore or Sweden listen to that conversation. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was just listening to that one with him on there. But that's what I was going to ask. Talk about your kids and what does that mean to leave your legacy behind? Like, for me, anything handwritten, I cherish those things from my grandma. Her recipes and her handwriting are just really special. You're leaving behind your voice, and that's pretty cool.
It is. It's really cool, and it's a different, I don't know, I can't find a better word, sensation to hear your loved one's voice, than to dream it up in your head what it sounded like. There's some videos of my granddad just talking and on video. That's really, I have memories of him and they're super fun for me.
Yeah.
But having that reminder of exactly what it was like is really cool. I'm hoping I'm saying things. Well, I don't even hope this. I know I'm saying things on this podcast or in these interviews that I believe. I'm not saying, I couldn't say stuff I just don't believe. I wouldn't, because it's here forever. And believe me, in today's culture, in today's society, you say it, someday, somewhere, somebody's going to dig that up and say, well, did you know Neil Dudley, he said Mexican one time years ago? Well, I don't know how to be any other than the person I am. And that is flawed. That is imperfect.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, that's just, that's kind of also the beauty of it.
Exactly.
Like, hey, cool. I know that. You know that. It's forgiven. Now let's just enjoy each other. So anyways, that's partly what I want the girls to hear and be able to understand. Here's a good illustration of it. My mom filmed everything when I was in high school. Sports, pep rallies, all this stuff. Turns out I was a part of a mile relay team that went to state. So we're fast. The team was fast. None of us were just blazing fast, but the team was fast. Well, now my girls are starting 7th, 8th grade. They're starting to go do this stuff. And I've been trying to get them to watch it for, because it's like a thing I'm proud of. Everybody wants to relive those glory days. Oh, I was good. I went to state. It makes me somebody. Well, not really, but it's okay for you to feel that way about it. So anyways, I'm trying to get them to watch it. They never will. They never will. Well, they ran a few track meets. Now we watched it. Now they appreciate it. So the podcast, I think, will happen a lot like that.
Yeah.
They don't like, I can't make them listen to these conversations now. Who knows when this might be? It might be once they kind of get out trying to make their own living and figure things out themselves. It might be when they have their own kids. All those things, which it kind of makes me want to cry right now. It's just like that kind of stuff is beautiful, fun, part of why God made this whole thing happen the way it does. So that's what it's about, leaving something for them to hear. And I don't know if a legacy seems like a big word to me. I don't know if it's a legacy, but it is some footprints.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband passed away 3 years ago, and I have one voicemail.
Oh, yeah?
And I can't tell you how often I listen to it, because that's all I have, just to hear his voice. And he says, I'm just calling to see how your day went. I'll be home in a couple hours. I love you. Bye. And man, that's all I need right there. And it's his voice, and just, it means a whole lot to be able to have access to that. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Well, thanks for telling me that. Like, wow, we should just talk about that for a little bit. So
you want to swap?
Yeah, let's swap. Or you can finish with this, but now, see, this is kind of what's so beautiful about just sit down in person, talk a little bit, and I'll say something, then you'll say something. I'll be, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I bet some other people have had that, and that sounds like a really tough truth. Like, so this voicemail is a piece of it. It's like, okay, cool. How do you move on? Do you ever actually move on? Like, what goes around that?
So that's actually how this magazine kind of fell into my lap. I've been in Brownwood since 2015, so going on about 9 years. And 8 years, I don't know, I can't do math. Do you know Nelson Wholesale over there? When my husband and I got married in 2014, we were in Oklahoma, and he was a pilot, and he really wanted to get out of cargo freight flying. So I worked nights at the airport, and I would print out his resume, stuff them in envelopes, put stamps on them, and we mailed them out to anybody and everyone in Texas. We're from around the Abilene area, so we had to come back to Texas.
Okay.
And out of thousands of resumes that I sent out, Mr. Harkey was the Lone Ranger.
I call him Mr. Harkey. My brother and I partner. We own the Gore Brothers feed store out here. He runs it. He just lets me own a piece of it. But I remember we were trying to raise some money for something or the rodeo, and I'm like, who at Nelson Wholesale can? Well, I've called old Mr. Harkey and tried to get money out of him a million times. That's kind of another truth about small communities. It's like every business here is getting requested for their support for every little thing that happens. I mean, it's part of why small town businesses should really be appreciated. There's a thing there that doesn't get talked about much. How much money they really spend, even though they say no to 90% of the people, they still spend a lot of money. Anyways, back to Nelson Wholesale. You got your husband a job. Did he get a job or did you get him a job?
Yeah, he did the work. Anyway, so we found ourselves in Brownwood, and I finished my degree at Howard Payne and started teaching at the high school, and he continued to fly for Mr. Harkey and the company. And 2018, I found out I was pregnant with my son, and I told Chase on Sunday night, and Monday afternoon he came home from work and said he had quit his job. And I kind of panicked because we have this baby on the way. And so he said he just was looking for something with more benefits to support our family, long term. Because we had talked, and it was really our dream for me to stay home with our kids and to not be a working mom. It was really important for me to do that.
Now, was your mom a stay-at-home mom?
I grew up with a single mom.
Okay.
So, yeah, kind of.
She played all the roles.
Yeah.
Well, high five to her. I hope she's still around.
She is.
I hope she gets to listen to this, because every chance I get to high five a single mom or just hand them a rose and say, now, I had both of my parents. I can't say I personally know exactly what it's like, but I can guess. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, high five, Mom.
Yeah. Well, he ended up getting a job out of Lubbock, Eagle Med. He flew air ambulances for a while, but the schedule was really tough and just not what he wanted. He wanted to be home. Chase was real big on family first, work second. And we had prayed and prayed that something else would come along, that he would get a breakthrough. Piloting is kind of building blocks. You start, at the bottom of the barrel.
Did you know that I'm in the process of getting my private pilot license? Yes, I've got like 27 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm still slamming that train. I mean, I can't land soft for anything, but I'm landing.
Yeah.
And I mean, they say a successful, a landing you walk away from is a successful landing. So anyways, that's kind of crazy that he was a pilot, and I kind of understand the stepping stone piece of it. Okay, so now he's been flying med ambulances, I guess.
And we were just praying something else would work, and Lauren Engineers out of Abilene called. We had actually gone to the mountains right before I delivered. We just wanted to get away, and we didn't have service, and we had gone in to town to check our phones and got a call in the 15 minutes we were there. And it was this company looking for a pilot. They heard great things about Chase, and we just thought, this is a answered prayer. And 6 months later, the airplane that he was flying for that company crashed in the middle of an ice storm. And there's a lot of confusion that goes around that, because we thought our prayers had been answered. And by that point, I had a 5-month-old baby.
Yeah.
And COVID hit 2 weeks later, and the world shut down.
Gosh, girl, you're tough. You're tough. I mean, you don't have an option to not be, but...
That's exactly right. Everybody says, I don't know how you do it. Well, what else do you do? I mean, you just keep putting your feet in front of the other. And
well, that's all. Even so, did everybody die in the plane?
Yes.
Just him? So it's really a painful truth for not just you, but lots of people.
Yeah.
So it's sad. It's sad for me, and I really didn't even know
Yeah.
anybody. Everybody understands there's pain involved for a lot of people. Even so then you also have this plane crash. Now, if I say something here and you don't want to answer it, you should just say, I don't want to. But I'm curious. Well, then now he's kind of at the controls. So is he to blame? So then you have this whole mental gymnastics BS. It's really just BS, but it happens to go through or to deal with potentially from, who knows, insurance companies to other family members, all these things. Did that happen, or am I dreaming that?
No, I'm still in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Over 3 years later. That was one of the very first things. He hadn't even been gone 24 hours, and the news got a hold of it. And, we had a reporter out of San Angelo saying the guy took a nosedive and purposely crashed the plane. We had people...
It had to be an ice issue.
Yeah, there was a lot of things surrounding it. We won't get into all of that, but there was some maintenance and weather and a lot of factors in it. And the media was tough to handle. And we just kind of had to shut that out from the get-go. And with any type of accident like that, Chase was the pilot, and so he took a lot of blame. And we've had a lot of experts do their research in regards to the lawsuit, and any number of them will tell you he had over 5,000 hours. He was 31 years old. That's insane for a guy his age. He worked hard. We had our own plane. He flew, that was his love and his life, and he was smart about it.
Yeah.
And he was not a fair weather pilot. He knew how to fly in inclement weather, and it was just God's will, I guess.
You said something a minute ago. This has been I don't know, it's kind of a little quote I've been using lately. I don't know why. It's just I heard it the other day. It sounded really good. It seems interesting. This old, I'm going to say Chinese proverb. I don't know if it's actually Chinese or not, but just for conversation's sake, the old Chinese proverb goes something like this. A farmer had this horse, and him and his son were, have you ever heard this one?
Mm-mm.
Plowing the field. Came in, next morning they got up, the horse was gone. And the village was like, oh man, Mr. Farmer, that's the worst thing could ever happen. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. And that just keeps happening. So then the horse comes back, and now there's 3 horses. He brought friends back. Now wow, farmer, that was so awesome. You lost him, and now you have 3. Isn't that great? Well, maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Then his son's training one of the horses, and the horse bucks him off, and he breaks his leg. Oh, Mr. Farmer, now your son can't help you. How are you going to... Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe Then the military comes by. They're looking for able-bodied young men to send to war. Well, we can't take your son. Oh, wasn't that so lucky? No, you didn't go... Well... Maybe it was. Maybe it was. That's what I think you're talking about with God's will.
Yeah.
And we don't know. It's partly why I want to do the podcast. Because I could die now. You just don't know. I don't want that to happen. I'm not hoping that will happen. I'm absolutely avoiding it in every way. But I also want to live.
Yeah.
I also want to be doing things that I enjoy and these kind of stuff. So... let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some stuff. The girls can hear it someday. My wife can hear it someday.
And you're giving all these other people the opportunity for their 15 minutes of fame, if you will.
Yeah, sure.
Which
I hope is an hour. It's pretty easy to talk an hour. You think about it. People kind of try to say, do a shorter one, Neil. Nobody wants to listen to all this. So much conversation. I'm like, I do hour-long ones.
Yeah.
I do 2-hour-long ones. I can't find anything out in 15 minutes.
Mm-mm.
I can, but not enough to satisfy me. So we spend more time talking. Oh, wow. That's
I agree with that. What you just said about, when COVID hit, It was terrible for so many people. It has been my greatest blessing because the world stopped and I got to have this time to adjust to my new life. And the world just stood still for a little while, it seemed. And I know not very many people would agree with that. It was a totally different time for a lot of other people, but for me, it was a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's all about perspective and where you're at in your life in those moments. And
some different things
well,
to do.
You mentioned this,
and
this whole
I
deal
was
is kind of
pursuing
how you came across the magazine.
one business
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, and things just kind of weren't
So
lining
now we've
up.
gotten through the
And,
really worst part of it.
Yeah.
I kind of,
Now
at
you're
that
still
point,
kind of
had
in
felt
the
like
legal
a
battles.
stranger
But so how did
in the town I had been
COVID
living
slows
in
everything
for the last
down?
almost decade.
so the world starts coming alive again.
And I had gone to the bank just to ask some
about
few
the
more
2-year
questions to
mark,
see if I could make this opportunity work.
I'm not the most
And
social person.
the bank
I
had
freeze
closed early.
up.
I wasn't
I don't
paying
know what
attention,
to
so I was
say.
pulling
I
on the doors
don't
after
know how to
hours.
talk to people. It's just
I
who
was
I am.
frustrated
I'd rather
and upset,
be at home,
so I start walking
reading a
back to
book,
the truck,
sticking, to myself.
My phone starts ringing, and
I'm not
it's
just
the
a super
president of
outgoing
the bank
person.
over
Chase
there.
was.
And
he
said,
walked
"Is
in the
that
room
you?"
and he was
And
your
I
best
said,
friend.
Yeah,
And
how'd you recognize me?
I do everything.
It's just kind of like one of those moments
with
like,
the consideration of him and how he would want to raise our
each other
son.
in a small town.
And I was really relying on
so I
him
kind of am talking
to
to him,
teach
and
Kylan
he says,
how to
"I
have
forget
those
about
social
that. What
skills that I
about
don't
these
have."
magazines?"
That
He
became
said,
a
"You're
big
really great at writing.
responsibility
You like
to me.
photography.
Really
This would
had to
be
dig
a
down
great
and come
thing
out of my
for you to
comfort
take
zone.
over." So we kind of talked
to
and
provide
I called,
that for
the
Kylan,
previous owners of Brown County Living.
I
and
started
Comanche
looking
County
for
Living
things I had
magazines.
taught English
And one
at
conversation
Brownwood High
in, we were
School. I
making
love
plans.
the kids. I did not love the job.
And so it was kind of a
the
easy
focus
transition.
on state testing really wore me down.
In a lot of ways,
And
kind of disorganized
I
in a
didn't
lot of
know
ways, and so I'm
if
learning
I could go back
as
to
I
doing
go.
that. And
But I'm
Chase was real big on choosing your happiness, and work was not life, family was life, and things like that, really living. And so I kind of started looking around for some different things to do, and I was pursuing one business opportunity, and things just kind of weren't lining up. And I kind of, at that point, had felt like a stranger in the town I had been living in for the last almost decade. And I had gone to the bank just to ask a few more questions to see if I could make this opportunity work. And the bank had closed early. I wasn't paying attention. So I was pulling on the doors after hours. I was frustrated and upset. And so I start walking back to the truck, and my phone starts ringing, and it's the president of the bank over there. And he said, "Is that you?" And I said, "Yeah, how'd you recognize me?" And, it's just kind of like one of those moments like, oh, people know each other in a small town. And so I kind of am talking to him, and he says, "Forget about that. What about these magazines?" He said, "You're really great at writing. You like photography. This would be a great thing for you to take over." So we kind of talked, and I called the previous owners of Brown County Living and Comanche County Living magazines. And one conversation in, we were making plans. And so it was kind of a easy transition in a lot of ways, kind of disorganized in a lot of ways. And so I'm learning as I go. But I'm having to really get myself out there.
Well, yeah, because now you got to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the truth. Yeah. Once you have a business, you've got to go sell. I mean, you need some people to do interviews, and you've got to put some good content in there, and hopefully, a story about me will be valuable.
Yeah.
I think
it will be. Yeah.
We'll see. But that's kind of part of the gamble of business. Always, it's with your interviews. It's hard to know how good they are, so you really got to work on selling those to sponsors or advertisers and those kind of things. Oh, gosh, this just opens up a whole new bunch of stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah.
How do you buy a magazine when nobody buys magazines anymore?
So,
am I wrong about that?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
In a place like Comanche, it's a slower pace over here than Dallas or Houston or San Antonio. Magazines still hold a little weight around here. People still like to hold it in their hands versus online. They kind of give people a sense of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like the old days. There's statistics now that even millennials, Gen Z say that if it's printed and you can touch it and it's tangible, anything they read out of something tangible, they put more trust in that versus the internet. And it kind of creates like this emotional connection for what the content's in there. And that holds some weight with people. Still, I don't think we're all so desensitized, you know.
And also, like, this is a strategy I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't run the same direction as everybody else all the time. Like, everybody's running a different direction than you. That immediately puts you at an advantage because you're going to find those people who you're reaching my audience. If you have any audience, you're reaching somebody else's audience, and they're going to be interested in having access to that.
Yeah, these are hometown magazines. It's like a yearbook.
Yeah.
You can look at it that way, but it's a way to tell stories of people that you may see them on the street, but you don't know everything about them. If you're just saying a hi, bye type thing. Yeah. I'm trying to give this interview where we get to the core of people's stories, what's important to them. I give them the opportunity to speak, and then I do what I do best, and I write it down, and I can put it in a way that maybe not everyone likes to talk about themselves, like you just said.
Sure.
And, but I think, and it's one of just my core beliefs, we owe it to each other to tell our stories. And it is so important to me, whether it's a family member or a friend or a stranger, you know, I need to know other people in this world that have gone through what I've gone through. I need to know that it's doable.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you listen to the Freda?
I did.
Like, she's been through, and I'm today with my CFI doing some flight training. We got to talking about her. She had a brother that passed away in kind of shady circumstances, let's say. I don't even know the full story, but you know, she's been through just so much, and you're kind of doing the same thing, and that's ways. And I think God, I don't know what's holding in my future, but I'll bet I've come across some hard stuff. It could be death in the family. It could be, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But all of these stories and conversations with people just illustrate it's doable. It sucks. You can't breathe at times, but you can continue. Mm-hmm. And
like
it's awesome.
Freda's interview, I don't know her, but I cried listening to it because when she's talking about minute by minute.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get in through the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can make it to tomorrow, but I've got 60 seconds right here that I can handle.
Yeah.
And then I could do the next one too. And so I totally understood what she was saying. And for me, I read this quote one time. It said, "Those were the good old days, but so are these."
Yeah.
And that means so much to me because I miss Chase. I miss my life with him. I mean, I'm only 30, but I feel so old now. You know, grief will do that to you. But we had fun, and we went, and we didn't have a care in the world, and everything was new, and we just felt like the world was ours. And those were the days. And then he's gone, and you start to think it's over. But I've got this little boy who doesn't deserve that.
Right.
You know, and these are the good days too. They may be different, but they're good too. And I think we can all relate to that. We all have a point in our lives where things change. And that's just my take on it is...
That's a yeehaw. Like everybody listening you've got to take that, what Kelsy just said, and put it I don't know where, in the files of important stuff that live in your brain. And remember that. So yeehaw, that is a cowgirl perspective right there, that people, and its greatness. It really is, although it doesn't get that acknowledgement much.
No.
So great.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days, and these are too. My dad had a brain aneurysm and heart arrhythmia almost. Well, I mean, he just had to face the fact that I'm fixing to have brain surgery. Mm-hmm. And through that, he kind of got into a deep depression and just really, he lived some of this minute by minute life that was just like, I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, I can make it. I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, I can make it. It's just that's why I think learning to do hard things, I try to make my girls do hard things, like whatever it is. I don't care if it's push-ups or having to sit on the bench at the basketball game when all your friends are playing and you just have to watch. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
That is giving you some skills that will be valuable later in life. Dad did it to me, and no, you can't ride that horse yet. You still have to ride the little dinky pony that everybody laughs at you when you come riding around. That's okay. You can do that. You have to wait your turn to do this other thing. Teaches you doing the hard thing, having the patience, learning to wait. That turned out to be super valuable to me and still is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I wish my mom had a different life. She's had some hard times, but I'm thankful that she went through what she went through, because she was such a source of strength that I could pull from. And I remember, right after Chase's accident, thinking, she doesn't feel sorry for me. And I was kind of in this place, like I needed people to pity me, like
right. When's somebody going to feel bad for me?
And the world didn't, with COVID it kind of did, but life is still happening. And I had this newborn. I never got a break. It was just a lot. And she just said, no, I don't feel sorry for you. And my mouth just kind of fell open. And I was like, you're my mom, and she just said, I just know you've got to keep going. Yeah. And that's what she did. There were 3 of us that she raised. We always had a roof over our head and food on our table because she rallied and she pushed through things, and she did it for us. And that's what I want to do for my son. But I
think she gave you a gift too. And I think everybody should think about this a little bit. When you feel sorry for somebody else and you get down in the mud and waller with them, it gives them an excuse to stay there.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like, I don't even want to say it out loud, but because you've been through a tough thing that nobody wants to have to go through. But we also have to realize, like, we can't give you an excuse to get down there and stay there, because you might just take it,
Yeah.
So anyways, I think it's a really important way of thinking about stuff. In parenting, I think of it the same way. I can't give my kids an excuse to not get up, to not expect more of themselves.
Right.
Like, parents, quit giving everything to your kids just because they want it. And I do it bad. Like, everybody listening is going to know, my kids have AirPods. Like, that's spoiled. Let me tell you, that's super spoiled. But I try to find ways. I'm not perfect also. I need to take my own advice. Like, they shouldn't have some of these things. They should have to wait for some of this stuff. Yeah. So there's my own counseling session for myself right there.
Well, I pray over Kylan, my son, every night. Yeah. And I have always asked God for the same thing. Please see us through the night. And when he rises, please let him be a light to those around him. And he always is.
Yeah.
And I thought, why don't I ever pray for myself like that? Like I'm really pouring into this kid right here. And why don't I ever do that for me too? And so I started just asking God to give me the strength, make me a good mother, and let me be a light to those around me.
Yeah.
And that was kind of around the same time that I had the opportunity to take over the magazines. And I see it with every interview that I do. It's really kind of neat to get to see people share their story, and they feel so good to know that somebody else cares to listen. And there's something neat in all of them. And I don't know. It's just...
You're living a truth that I love. A part of what I love so much about the podcast is that excuse to talk to people, like excuse to make them feel like they're important enough for me to want to spend an hour of my time with them, hearing about them and learning what they know that I don't know. Every human likes that.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, it makes me feel good. You thought about putting me... Holy crap. This lady wants to interview me for her magazine. That's so fun. I better do good. That's right. I don't know if I do good or not. I mean, it's really... I don't know. The world will have to decide that. All I can do is be me.
But it's not... I mean, even if it's not on a podcast, if it's not printed in a magazine, it still matters.
Oh, yeah. That's why I think it's important if you get a chance. Anybody listening, I don't do this very well either. Go to a nursing home. Go say hi to the elderly people in our population who don't have kids or brothers or sisters that come see them and say hi. Because someday that might be you. And it's going to be worth so much for somebody to just say, hey, how you doing? Wow. I like that necklace you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's just really valuable. And it's part of humans that I think God put in there so deep, it'll never get, no AI or anything ever going to take those things out of us.
Yeah. Well, it starts at home. And if we just kind of zoom out a little bit, that home is this town. I mean, it's where you're doing your life every day. You're driving down these roads, you're shopping at these stores, you're part of the community, whether you want to put yourself out there or not. Stop and look around at how many other people are doing the same thing you're doing in this same place, in this same part of Texas, and it's kind of crazy, I go to Brookshires and Brownwood. I see the same people there. I never say a word to them, but we always just have thought to do our grocery shopping at the same time. Yeah. And where do we go when we leave there? I go back to my house. What are they doing? What food are they going to go prepare for their families? What do their families look like? Like, what's that story there? Because we all came to the same place at the same time. And it's just kind of interesting to think about. But I think that sharing it just creates this sort of empathy. And it's nice to have people celebrate your highs and walk with you in the lows. And I think we just need to open up more and be a little bit more vulnerable in all of it.
Yes. Vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the greatest traits any human can have.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable. Like, just tell the truth. You don't have to be better than everybody else. The fact is, we don't even care. We don't even care if you're better than everybody else. We just want you to be good to us. And who's making the judgment of you're better than everybody else anyways? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yes. Be vulnerable. Be nice. Quit comparing yourself to one person or another. We all have got this journey, and I do it. Like, I speak from experience. I want to be Joe Rogan. I don't even know why. I mean, he smokes pot. I'm not interested in that at all. I don't want to be Joe Rogan, but I want to have that kind of influence.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I think it's just because I think people will like me more. And that's not even true. Actually, more people will not like me.
Yeah.
If I manage to pull that off, it's only going to result in more people not liking me. All the people that really love me and like me and know me, they still love me, like me, and know me. No more, no less. It's like I asked my girls this. It's part of one of our Sunday school lessons. Go home, ask your kids, what could you do to make me love you more? And if they answer anything but nothing, you've got some work to do. There's nothing that can make God love me more or less, or me love my kids, my family more or less. Now, I might not like them for some things, but it doesn't affect the love.
Yeah.
So that's just all kind of, I don't know, philosophical stuff that I also love to talk about, because I think woven within that, within all of this stuff we've talked about, is some person finding out they're great.
Yeah.
And owning that and allowing it. And it doesn't even require anybody else. You can be great, and it does not require anybody else to tell you that.
No. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you get your writing skills?
I've just
Is your
always...
mom creative? Is your dad creative? Did your dad pass away? Is this some kind of crazy Twilight Zone?
And I don't know if you want to put this in there or not. I had a pretty abusive father. So my parents divorced when I was very young. But
well, I'll tell you right now, you'll have to ask me to take it out if you don't want it in there, because I pretty much we don't do a lot of editing. We'll take out some ums, ahs, and that stuff just to make it flow better. But I mean, it's just your real life. It's a real truth. It's how many other people have that same truth?
Yeah.
Huge number. So I wouldn't take it out or wouldn't be ashamed to say it. It's like you said, it's kind of being vulnerable.
Well, yeah. I had a fairly abusive father. So when my parents divorced, Mom was taking care of the three of us, and I just had a passion for reading.
Like reading? Yeah,
it was kind of like an escape.
Yeah.
Not that my life was just terrible. It was different. And I grew up in Holly, America, out in the shinnery with the sand and the, the trees and goats everywhere.
And you said what I thought was Holly, but I know you mean Hawley.
Yeah.
Holly. Welcome to Texas, all you people listening in Sweden.
When we were dating, he introduced me to his friends as Holly.
Yeah.
And so forever, that's what everybody thought my name was Holly instead of Kelsey. And I was like, you need to set them straight.
Yeah,
That's
sometime or another, they may actually need to look me up. They're not going to find me.
But I don't know, like, it just kind of became this thing in school, like 6th grade through when I graduated. I was always going to get the English award. Yeah. Every year. I mean, everybody knew, like, oh, Kelsey, you'll get that. I remember in the 6th grade, I tried to start my own school newspaper, and I would go to the library and type it out on Word document and print it. And then they kind of got a little aggravated because they couldn't keep up with the ink and paper. And so that was short-lived. Our 8th grade trip was canceled for, I can't even remember why now. Somebody had done something and they canceled ours. Yeah. And we were all kind of upset about it because we were going to go to Six Flags. And the history teacher said, well, why don't you just go home and write a chapter in the history book about human suffrage in Holly? He was being sarcastic, but I went home and did it. And that landed me in ISS detention for a few days. But I've just always liked it. And I feel like I'm not a great speaker. I kind of have a dainty voice and people can't hear me, but you put it on paper and there's no question about what I said,
Yes.
And,
in copywriting in the business world is like a trump card.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a good copywriter, which I'm not, so I can tell you how important it is to have a good copywriter, to be a good copywriter. Good copywriters win the internet.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
So, really, it's awesome. Like writing is just arduous to me. It's just like, geez, I'll never get another paragraph wrote. Like I would like to write a book. I think there's stuff in my brain that would make a good book. But I'll have to have a ghostwriter because I know I'm not going to do it. I won't be able to sit there. I can get like an outline. Anyways.
Yeah.
It's
You're not alone
God
in that.
makes us different for those reasons, I think.
Well, that's my husband. He hated it. He thought it was the worst thing ever. If you put a book in front of him, he would throw up. I mean, but
Oh yeah, but you think he didn't read a lot of pilot books and study all that kind of stuff? Totally.
Yeah. But science, ugh. Math, ugh.
Yeah.
Literature, history, but yeah, we're all different in that. But
so, do you read a lot? Like, have you read a lot of books? What do you like to read? Fiction, nonfiction, anything?
Everything.
That's
I
words
think
on the paper.
Anything. Most of the things interesting. I'm
Have
the
you
kind
ever
of
read
person.
Atlas Shrugged.
Yes, Ayn
How
Rand.
about that?
Yeah.
Do you think that's not like? How did they get it so right? It was almost like how the world is turning out.
Those Russians, I don't know.
I don't know, but it's like that's crazy to me.
Did you read that?
No, Audible.
Oh. That's kind of a hard book.
That's a major, just listening to Audible, and I listen on 2X when I'm driving back and forth, took me a long time.
It's a big book.
But I would say it started slow for me, but then
it
just
up.
got interesting. Like I wanted to listen. What's about to happen next?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It.
One of my daughter's friends is a big reader.
Yeah.
Like, I think her parents even worry about her. Like, she reads too much.
Yeah.
You know? And I might, if I was a parent that had a kid like that. But, like, she just loves it. I mean, she can just blast through it. And it's like, I said, tell her to read Atlas Shrugged. Because I'm curious what she thinks. I would be so interested to hear her interpretation and perspective on that from her age.
Yeah.
Like what did you think about that? It'd be like, I want to do that podcast interview just around that book with her.
You should. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I hope she reads it.
Yeah. And that's one thing. Encourage people to read. I'm a big believer in these banned books. I don't know. Got my own opinions on that. But when I was in high school, I had checked out Gone with the Wind. And the librarian told me that was too tough for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And here I was, I've always been at the top of my class, loved reading. She knew I could read well. And to be told, like, that's too hard for you, that was kind of demoralizing to me. And
so it hurt more than it hurt you more than it made you want to give her the middle finger and read it and just say, oh yeah, dumb lady, I can read that like in my sleep.
Well, I put the book back.
Oh wow.
I did, and I don't know why. In fact, later in college, I was taking a Southern literature class and we had to read it, and I remember being nervous. Like,
yeah, it's funny how those occurrences in your life, I don't know, some of them just stick in that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I read it and I thought I could have used some of this knowledge in my life back then, and I don't know, stories just do that to people.
And also everybody, you're leading people. And I don't know, the librarian could have been the sweetest lady in the world, no bad intention, but your words matter. Things you say to people, how you treat them. So if you ever kind of get that little gut feeling that says, oh, I wish I'd have done that a little different, go do it different.
Yeah.
Like go change it. You say, hey, I messed that up. I didn't want to do that like that. You can read that dang book. We all know you can. Go get it. Maybe she wanted, I think it's just a good opportunity for everybody to think about that. Because I mess up. One of my greatest stories, or a really good story that's embarrassing. I wish it had never happened, but I go to this conference. I'm a speaker. I'm in the VIP coffee lounge. A random young lady walks in there, and I'm like, thinking this is going to be funny and a joke. This is the VIP lounge, young lady. You can't be in here. Where's your badge? It hurt her feelings.
Oh, no.
So bad. She turned around, walked off, went back to her booth. And it still affects me today.
Oh, no.
I wish I had not done that to that girl. I still went back to her booth. I took her a cup of coffee. I said, I don't want your day to start that bad. That was not what I wanted. She'll never forgive me because it hurt her. I can go beg for forgiveness forever. It won't change that first impression I made. That was terrible. But I did. I said, embarrassing as this is, I've got to go to that booth and tell her I'm sorry and try to give her a cup of coffee, which she's like, I don't want your coffee.
Yeah.
So anyways, what I just want to encourage people. When you feel like that, you got to do something about it. You can't be scared to own it.
Yeah. And like you said, words do matter. And no, once they're out there, you can't take them back. But you can try to talk over yourself. You can go and always apologize or say, let me try this differently. Or,
Sure.
The interesting thing about printed words is your audience is going to bring something to the table too. And so when they're meeting that article or that chapter or whatever it is they're reading, they're bringing their own experiences too. And maybe they're in a good place when they read it that first time. Maybe they're not, but they're going to be the one to set the tone too. And I think that's so interesting because I've read things before and then I'll read them again several years later and it's like, oh, I
mean something totally different.
Totally different. Yeah. Well, Harry Potter, reading it as a child versus reading it as an adult, that's two totally different experiences. Just, you get two totally different things out of it. And Hank the Cow Dog, you know.
My mom tried her tail off to get me to read. I just never did pick it up. Hank the Cow Dog books out the wazoo. Read this. I mean, Hank rolling around in a skunk for skunk dog perfume or something. It just, I remember that much, but I never, and it set me back some. Later in life, found Audible, which I consume much better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to do. And I've learned so much. It's like, holy moly. If I'd have just been reading these books, I would know all this stuff already. It's such a great way to get knowledge. You can't without the life.
I'm so glad it's accessible now. I remember being a kid and in the library, if anyone wanted to check out an audiobook, I was like, whoa, they're slow,
Yeah.
Like I just felt like there was this stigma around it. And now, man, you can get so much more reading done in a day just by, while I'm doing dishes, driving back and forth to places, you can get so much out of it. And it's a totally different experience, but yeah, pretty cool. I think podcasts are so cool because it's somebody's live voice telling their story.
Yeah.
But
it's all cool. Like it all has those very unique, fun, cool, special dynamics. Podcasting is my thing. Writing's your thing. You don't have to fail for me to succeed.
Yeah.
I don't have to fail for you to succeed. Like that's the great thing about America. I'm not sure it's absolutely true everywhere, but in America, nobody has to fail for me to succeed.
Yeah.
There's opportunity just in everything. So don't think you can't win unless your competitor loses.
Yeah.
I love competition. I love winners. I love losers. I'm no big fan of participation trophies. Like, hey, you won. You get special treatment. Everybody else, you want to try to win. Like, that's how you get special treatment. I don't know. I can also understand some of the other pieces of it. Like even, hey, but you showed up and you tried hard, and I appreciate that. I think that's kind of the parents and the coach's job to give a kid some encouragement in that way. But ultimately, like you need to be trying to win.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to try to win for this magazine to be successful. I'm going to have to try to win for the podcast to be successful.
Yeah.
Have you been able to keep all your advertisers? Like, has that been a challenge for you? Are you even delving into that piece of it that much yet? Do you have somebody that's helping you? Like, this is what I'll kind of around the business. Seems like to me you never ran a magazine before. So you're figuring a lot of this stuff out.
This is all new to me. And it's a struggle for me on different levels. Personally, because like I said, I'm not a people person, so I have to go out there and say, hey, can you give me some money, you know? Sure. And I'm not so good at that. I'm getting better. And, I spent my morning doing that, and I've kind of feel like a stranger over here just because I'm not from here. And I feel like people are a little suspicious, but different perspective. I feel like that's a good quality to have for this type thing because everybody's story is new and exciting and important to me. So from that aspect, I think it's great. But the previous owners were not local, and I'm not saying anything bad about them. I just think that kind of has shown since COVID. I know that people used to love this magazine.
Yeah.
And they would race down to the chamber to get their copy, and the quality is amazing. It is
done. It's printed well.
Very well.
Yeah.
And I just think maybe the content was kind of lacking there for a while. And so I'm trying to get that going. I'm doing the best that I can. But I think some people might have lost some trust there.
Yeah.
And I understand that because if I were in their shoes, I would be too. So I'm kind of having to do a little bit, maybe, I don't know if you'd call it a learning curve, just kind of give myself some grace on that. But right now it's just me.
And that's a big plate, really. The sales, all the print, just the printing fires that I'm sure come up and schedules and like newsflash, there's stuff you need to be doing. You don't even know you need to be doing because nobody's telling you. Nobody's helping you. I mean, I would if I could, but I don't know anything about it. But that's business too. It's like 5 years from now, it'll be the thing you look back, you're like, remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know you had to send an email to Joe Bob and tell him, don't forget to put the QR code on the back of the thing or something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
So what I did a few months ago, I knew I was lacking in my knowledge for marketing. And I know that that's going to be a huge thing, whether in design, sales, whatever. So I am finishing up a course this week through Texas Tech on digital marketing science. I have learned so much. It has been just kind of like this mind-blowing thing the last few weeks. But I decided I want to offer more. You were talking about or asking about if the magazines were still relevant in print. I am in the process of redoing a website to make that more accessible, putting out a newsletter, hopefully, to make. Right now, Comanche County goes to print once a year. I think people would like to see that more often. So I'm going to start with just a monthly newsletter to stay relevant throughout the months of the year that it's not circulating.
Database transfer in the purchase, like all the emails and everything that... No?
I'm pretty much starting from scratch. The chamber
then
has
they gave it to you for free. Okay, all right. Good. I'm just saying you shouldn't have paid much because really all that value would have been in all those names and emails, like your newsletter list.
It would have been. I got a minimal amount, and like I said, I'm not trying to say badly. It was just a very.
Maybe that's all they had. Maybe they had dwindled, and it just went away. But
it was just.
I was expecting to hear you say it. Oh yeah, I got a 10,000 person list. I can send the newsletter to.
No.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm starting from scratch, and that's been a challenge, but also not.
Well, you also starting from scratch is kind of good because you get to build the audience you want to build, and even in that 10,000, easily over half of them are going to really be irrelevant because the magazine's changed. It's changed hands. They've changed as people. They're not as interested. So it's tough. It's hard. It's hard to monetize all those things, but something just tells me you're going to do it.
I'm hoping. I've had a lot of help from the chamber. Virginia over there has been wonderful. Becca and Kesley and everyone that I reach out to do an interview is super eager. They want to tell their story. They love the magazine. They want to be in it. So now that we're down to the wire, I've got pretty much all of our photos and articles are written. I've got 2 more interviews I'm doing at the end of this month. And then I'm in the middle of working on designing and publishing. And I'm just down to needing advertising done.
Have you done the story on you?
I'll have a piece about the editor in there.
See, I mean, I would challenge you to consider turning this whole thing, you included, into an article. I mean, because like you said, nobody knows you. They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, who's this girl walking up here asking me for money to go in a magazine that all anybody ever says is magazines are dead, right? So, like that's a mindset. And I think if you put this in your print, people will immediately say, "Oh, I want to support her. You know, I believe in her. She's good. I want to support her." So
you're not the first person to say that.
It might be hard for you to come to that real. It might be hard to do. I don't know. I'm not a magazine expert. People might not like it, but I would like it.
It's that vulnerability there, that's right? I think because that's where I've been. Is I'll, your editor's note, but do people really care what I have to say? Do I have a story worth telling? That makes me a hypocrite to think that about myself when I'm out here saying like,
that's what you're selling right there. You're selling the whole concept, and then you won't give it to yourself. That's imposter syndrome. We all deal with it, I think.
Yeah.
I know I do. Almost anybody does. If you think you don't have something valuable for others, it's a problem because that's not true.
Yeah.
It's just not true about anybody.
I think we all struggle with that though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, it's been a learning curve. But man, I am loving the people over here. Yeah. Everybody has been just, I don't know. Everybody has a sense of home about them, like the little things matter. And I don't think it's like that in every part of the world. And, the thing about this magazine in a place like Comanche or De Leon, Brownwood, these smaller towns is people still have coffee tables. People still go to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's not just about a drive-through. And
the beauty salon right there. I mean, those things are getting looked at heavily.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember growing up, even something like the JCPenney catalog, sitting on the couch and poring over it. And you've got this memory of who was sitting beside you looking at those pages. Dog ear them, go back to them and look through, and you don't have to throw them away. And I don't know. What's funny is I'm looking at the way they've been distributed previously, because they kind of go around town to businesses. Your advertisers get first dibs, the chamber gets them, and then it's like, what do you do with all of these other copies? And I was getting phone calls, someone saying, where can I get more? My dentist office had it, and I stole it. Don't tell them. And it's like, no, you can take them. Right. You're allowed to take those home and look at them and enjoy them. But I don't know, just kind of like print material has a place still. I don't think it's going away for good, but I do have to step up and look at the digital landscape too. It needs to have a place on the internet too. Yeah.
I mean, you're just impressive in that way that you're willing to say, I don't know this about that. I'll go take a class. That's a great lesson for anybody listening. Like, you got to challenge yourself to allow you don't know. Like, the older I get, the dumber I am. It's just a fact. It's how much I realize I don't know.
But you can.
Why do we start why does a kid think they know it all?
Right.
And then, God messed that up somehow. You should have swapped that.
Yeah.
But it just you start seeing so much more about the world. You get some maturity and wisdom, and you start thinking,
yeah,
wow. It's an endless thing. There is no finish line. There's only the journey. I always thought younger, one day I'm going to be this super perfect, great human. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
But one day I was going to be there. Now I realize I'll never be there. And I really wouldn't even ever want to be there because it's a lonely place. And
to get to the end and there's nothing else?
It's just there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah. So you've been doing this a while now. You said 3 years.
Yeah.
What would you say your top 5 lessons that you've learned are pieces
Well,
of
we've touched
advice.
on, really, we've touched on them all throughout. One of them is that I don't know anything. I mean, it's like I really understand that so much more. All I can do is be trying. So, that'd be one thing through all these conversations. One of them was this guy named Jay Samet, and he's was like a VP at Sony, maybe a president of one of the Sony music departments. And he just said, you got to always think about it like you don't know. Like, you can't know it all, and that's okay. Like, what you need to do is be willing to work with those people, to learn, to say, I don't know it all. So that was what partly was really impressive about you, is just saying, I'm taking a course, and, I know I got to read. Really, a magazine's important to me. I'm writing the copy, all these things I love about it. But there also has to be this other piece of it that somebody who doesn't get that still has access to really the content, which is going to be, I just have this feeling, going to be really good. Okay, so number 1, I don't know much of anything. Number 2, in-person conversations, whether it's you and me or you and me maybe on a Zoom call or something, there's still a human conversation happening with eyebrows twitching and smiles and head shakes and all this stuff is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
You cannot replace it. We need that as part of what humans have to have. That's number 2. Let's see. You gave me 5. Number 3, is find a way, do a thing that gets you the chance to talk to the people you want to talk to. Like this podcast. I've talked to Randy Bernard, a past president, CEO of the PBR. He now manages Garth Brooks' career.
Wow.
I mean, I could talk to Randy Bernard. I could talk to Jay Samet. He's another one. I've talked to a guy named Marcus Sheridan. He wrote one of the most popular marketing books. They ask, you answer. It's about how to treat customers, how to, why won't you put your prices on the website? You think they don't want to know that? Yeah. Everything your customer wants to know, you should tell them as fast and as easy as you possibly could. So find ways to talk to the people you want to talk to. I got to talk to my dad and record him. I've got to talk to my uncles. I've got to talk to mentors of mine. And part of it is I want them to tell people what they told me.
Exactly.
That I know. I got this from them. Anyways, find ways to talk to the people you want to talk to. That'd be number 3. Number 2 is marketing rules. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're on number 4. But marketing rules. And it's a so tough thing. It's so different and so dynamic and so easy to not trust what I'm saying. Like, if you're hearing this, you've got to know marketing rules, doing those things in marketing that builds that connection with people, that gives them a chance to see the thing you're doing. Like, it used to take maybe 3 or 4 times somebody seeing this little brand at the Cowboy perspective for it to be a picture in their mind. Now it's like 60, because just the world's moving so much faster and there's so much stuff flowing into everybody's eyeballs, mind, ears. So marketing matters. You need to do it. That should be the last thing you ever cut from a budget or any other thing. Do the marketing. And guess what? You can't tie it right to revenue. That's kind of how the world works. That's why it's good. When there's always this exchange, money in, money out. I'm going to do this for you. I expect you to do this for me. We're not friends. We're transactional. Marketing makes it more emotional, more or less transactional. So now you're starting to build loyalty and fan base and these kind of things, which there's books out there, millions of them. Jeb Blunt's one of the ones I like a lot. He writes really good stuff about these concepts. So marketing matters. There's number 4. Number 5, I don't know. I can't come up with the number 5. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could. But those came to me real quick. I'm sitting here, like go horseback riding, I guess is what I would say for number 5. A thing I learned from the podcast is go horseback riding. And what I mean by that is go read a book. Go do that thing that resets your soul.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And it might be skateboarding. It might be water skiing. It might be hiking. It might horsebacking.
Mm-hmm.
Horseback riding is what it is for me.
Yeah.
Go do that. And I think your experience losing Chase makes me like, go do that.
Yeah.
Because you're not promised tomorrow. Like, you got to go do that. You got to teach your kids to do it. Like, your kids are seeing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing what you say. They're doing what you do. So just always keep that in mind. That's like, people will, this was one of those marketing things my wife tells me, and I love it. I think it's so good. People will never remember what you told them, how you told them,
Mm-hmm.
but they will remember every time how you made them feel.
Exactly.
So there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Marketing rules.
Yeah. She sounds like a very smart lady.
I know. I want y'all to meet because I think you're very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she's not the most social
Mm-hmm.
person, I mean, she's not, I wouldn't say awkward or anything. You're not awkward, but I think, like, you probably understand this. Big social settings wear her out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just hard. It's work. Like, for me, I'm only feeling better afterwards. Like, now what are we going to do?
You get it on that high.
She's like, oh, can we go home? I'm like, okay, But, and that was the thing in our marriage. I feel lucky we figured that out pretty quickly. I don't know how. Maybe I was listening to a podcast and they were just talking about. Matter of fact, one of the best books I've ever listened to is Being an Introvert in a World That Never Shuts Up.
Yes.
I forget who wrote it, but it's a really good book. And it talks about how introverts are so valuable to really business, politics.
Because they listen.
Yeah, that's right. They're listening. They're thinking. All of those things. And that book really opened my eyes to how hard it is for an introvert to go be. And they're kind of looked over in a lot of ways because of that less boisterous personality.
Mm-hmm.
So, high five to the introverts out there. I mean, you're absolutely important. I'm not going to give you a free pass. I'm still going to be happy and it's kind of fun as I can be, but I do know that it's absolutely a truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Anything else you'd like to include for my article about you? You don't talk a whole lot about family. I mean, you're from here. You probably think everybody knows you.
Right.
I don't.
Sure. I guess, I would say, go listen to the podcast.
I've been gathering tidbits here and there, but
I've done a couple episodes with my dad. I did an episode with my mom, like a story about her.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stories that came across in that episode, which she's told me, I'm sure 100 times, but I don't remember it so much. This was an illustration
Mm-hmm.
of the woman who raised me.
Yeah.
And the woman who raised her. So my mom was in high school. She has glasses, her eyes, but she wanted contacts, so she couldn't. 4 eyes, that little moniker got eliminated. And they were expensive, and they weren't very well off. I mean, they really couldn't afford them. Well, Rhonda, you got to go work for those. And so she went and got a job. She worked all through the summer, saved up the money, went to go get it's making me want to cry. Went to go get these contacts, and her mom whipped out her checkbook and wrote it, and paid for them, and just looked at her and said, I just wanted you to know what it takes to have that, but I'll buy them for you. And that it made my mom cry. It made her emotional. It's like that memory of that lesson, that hard thing, do hard things, that hard thing she had to do. Her mom made her do. Gave her mom that opportunity to show her so much love. So that's one. So that's kind of my mom. I mean, she did similar stuff with me. Freda talked about her a little bit. She was on this same track team, and she's just a hard worker, a kind of woman that loves life.
Yeah.
And that's partly where I get it. Dad's a little bit quieter. He's a much more of a thinker, which meant he frustrated the hell out of me a lot just because why do we have to put this in a spreadsheet? Why do we have to know all the ins and outs about it? But then guess what? That's super valuable to me too, in life, in business, in all the things that I do. I'm thinking about buying a plane right now. What it really taught me, I don't do those things because I'm not good at it and I don't want to, and I'm lazy in that way. But I get people who do those things to help me.
Yeah.
Like this mechanic I've got checking this plane out. He's my dad. Like he's going to be skeptical of everything. And then he just really gives me information and I still get to make the decision. But I wouldn't even have the information otherwise. I'd have just gone and bought it, and then it'd been some problem that I just didn't know about. So anyways, that's Dad. But parents just loved me, had me in church. Appreciate that about them. And Harry and Rhonda Dudley, Dad was the son of Eltis and Grace Dudley, who Eltis was kind of founded Dudley Brothers Ranch, and they had businesses on the square here in Comanche. And so our family's been here for a lot of years. My mom's parents were Robert and Rubeline Lupke. They lived in Priddy and spoke some German, so I got to learn some German.
Yeah.
Super hardworking people, really. And this is probably a misconception, or I don't even know. I'm trying to say, my grandparents didn't have any money, like none. And my parents had a little money. My grandparents worked. They built some things. They put some things together. That was cool. And this is kind of me being vulnerable. Me also, I'm a little scary about even saying this because there are people in my family who are going to want to hang me over it. Like it's some big secret, super special. My grandparents had no money. My parents had some money, but it's not like they're Trump billionaires or something. Yeah. Now I've gone and made a pretty good living. My wife and I, and her parents, like her side of the family, they're similar, exact same story. Built a big business. So we've had momentum handed to us. I feel responsible to take that momentum and use it and fly faster and fly farther. I guess that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. I mean, people will see, and I am a guy that will spend frivolous money. Like I own a Rivian. You saw it out there. I don't need a Rivian. I mean, it's an electric vehicle. Nobody needs it, but I have it. So there's not the smartest decision being made in owning that depreciating asset. But I do some stuff like that. My wife is less that way. Like we got an espresso machine. We would have never got an espresso machine if I wouldn't have bought it because she's just not going like, well, we got a coffee maker. Yeah, we don't need that. So anyways, there's some illustration of how life can be and how it's a truth. I hope to give my kids some momentum without giving them too much, which that's this fine line. Like I was giving momentum, but I don't think I was giving too much. I was required to understand what it meant to shovel shit. Yeah. Like actually. And that was super valuable to me. And then I was passed along momentum along the way. So I'm hoping to navigate that in a good way too.
I like that. Yeah. And sometimes, for some people, it's not always passed from a family. Sometimes you got to create it in yourself.
That's right.
Or find it in yourself. Sometimes it's right there.
I would argue that's an advantage. Mm-hmm. It is. No, it's an earned advantage. Mm-hmm. It's a hard truth to really trust what I'm saying here. And I can't say I've experienced it, but I've competed against those people. They don't quit. They grind and they show up every time, all the time. If you don't have that somewhere, some you haven't had to build that skill, if your momentum didn't require any of that skill building, those people will eat you up.
Yeah.
So for everybody out there, it's not, you may be the one digging it out of the dirt right now, grinding it with no help. And it sucks because you think somebody else is getting ahead of you. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Go build your thing your way, how you do it. My granddad, my great grandparents, they were doing that.
Yeah.
They've all done it along the way. It's a general thing we're talking about here. It's not specific, but somebody somewhere has to dig it up out of the dirt.
Yeah.
And then if you happen to be the person that handed it the momentum, you better keep digging. I've heard it said, strong men make easy times, or hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times.
That's right. So
it's this cycle if you're not aware of, and I don't want to be the weak man that makes the hard times. So I think that's another piece of the puzzle everybody has to understand.
Yeah. It's like that lesson my mom taught me, not pitying myself. It's what you kind of get into that idea of, why me? Why did this happen to me? Nobody else is fighting as hard as I am right now.
I have to go through all this? Yeah.
Well, you can have, you can change your mindset and have a little bit of pride in it. You know.
That's right.
I look back over the last 3 years and it's like, I did it.
Yeah, sure.
Now it can be big and it can be small.
Really beautiful thing is your son's watching you do it.
That's right.
That's also that's kind of a lucky piece you have. Maybe others wouldn't have. Like, how are you going to frame it in your mind, your life? Are you going to frame yourself as the victim? Or are you going to frame yourself as the competitor? I tell my girls this all the time. Yeah, they're bullying you. Yeah, that hurts your feelings. Are you going to choose to frame it as they're bullying you? Or are you going to choose to frame it as, unfortunately, that's a sad person that doesn't know any other way to do it.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find some happiness for themselves, and I happen to be the person they're using for that. Like, two totally different ways to feel about something.
Yeah.
And it's just about choosing how you want to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both absolutely true. Could be, if that's how you want to make it. If that's how you want to think about it.
So you're fixing to have a license to that bird's eye view. What do you feel up there?
Oh, I just like it. Is
the world different up there? Is it quieter? Is it scarier? Is it?
It's different. It's just different. I like it. Like I took some, if I was going to the military, I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of got this bacon business going, and I took 6 hours. For whatever reason, the guy decided, I think insurance went up, and the guy said he wouldn't lease his plane anymore. This was 2003. Now in 2023, 20 years later, I'm going back, and I'm going to get it. And it really came from me listening to a podcast that Clinton Anderson did. I don't know if you know who that guy is, but he's a famous horse trainer. Real charismatic, dirty mouth. Yeah. I don't know how else to. I love the way he thinks about stuff. I so align with the way he thinks about stuff. I think a lot of people can't get past his language to hear the concept that's there. So I would challenge you, just forgive him for the language. Listen to that concept and see if you like it. That's what I think. I'm really not telling anybody to do or like or imitate anything about anybody that even you and I, this conversation that we're going to be listening to, is some information for you to now take and fold into whatever your path is, your journey is. And maybe it's not even valuable for another 10 years, but someday it might be. What was I saying? Something about Clinton Anderson. I lost my thought on that.
20 years ago you started, now here you are, and you said it started with that podcast.
Oh, I was listening to his podcast. He interviewed one of the brothers that started Cirrus Aviation. And Cirrus, for anybody that doesn't know, is a pretty awesome plane. They're one of the most popular planes in the world. They're pretty expensive. Well, they started them.
Mm-hmm.
They
Just flew one
started
for a
that.
while. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like the whole podcast. Like, I went to my desk, looked up Cirrus. Oh, those cost too much money. Okay, so what do I do now? Found a Cirrus bunch of people that do flight schools. Went and flew my first 6 hours since 2003 in a Cirrus. And then I got real and said, okay, now I'm going to just get the deal done. Came back. I've got a flight instructor here, Scotty Mangum. I don't even know why I said Scotty. Like, see, I do weird stuff like that. His name is Scott, but I said Scotty. Like, it's going to make him more endearing or something, you know. Scott Mangum is my CFI here from Mullen, Texas. Like, you should interview him. He's been flying forever. He's training people how to fly all around these parts. A guy I graduated with. He's a lawyer in town. His name's Judd. He got his license. He's been flying. I said, Judd, who taught you? Mm-hmm. Scott Mangum. Hey, Scott, I need a flight instructor.
Yeah.
So now I'm flying with Scott, and it's an older plane, but it's still really awesome, fun, cool stuff. Like, there's just a huge difference between the planes I've flown, but I like that perspective too. I can enjoy this 1960 model Piper Cherokee.
That's what we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason had a little blue one.
There you go. And I can also enjoy that Cirrus SR20. That's like you're riding in a Cadillac. I mean, the way they thought about building that plane was, they said, they built these planes they thought were awesome. Nobody bought them. Like, why? This is the hardest, fastest, coolest plane ever. Yeah, but nobody wants to buy that. They want to buy the easy to fly, the comfortable. They went back to the drawing board and they bought. He said, if my wife won't ask me to fly in the plane with me, I've not built it good enough yet. So I'm kind of like, I like that.
Okay, yeah.
I want to go see what he's talking about. So when I'm in the plane, I'm like, this is a plane my wife would ask to ride in. Probably not so much the Piper Cherokee.
They have their charm.
Yeah, they do. They do. The small aircrafts are still just, I don't know, you got to be willing to understand they want to fly. They're not going to just, every time a little turbulence comes along or something, you're going to waffle a little bit, but they're going to keep flying. Anyways, that's kind of the journey there. Mm-hmm. Been trying to get one bought, which is fun for me. I also, like, in my life, I approach life like this. I've never done it. I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to mess up, but I will know what it's like, how to do it. I'll know so much more by doing it. I'm just more like, do it and figure it out later.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get hung up on, well, I'm not going to do it till I know everything about it. Like, what's the insurance going to cost? How much oil is it going to burn? What's the gas going to be? I don't know. Give me the plane. Once I have the plane, then I'll figure all the rest of that stuff out. That's not the best advice ever, but it is how I do stuff.
That's great.
I think you might not have this podcast if I hadn't been like that.
Wasn't that
bit,
it? Yeah. And me and the magazine, it's just.
That's right.
Yeah, we learn as we go. That's why, on your resume, your experience holds far more weight than your education.
Yeah. I almost don't even care about resumes.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. Like, you tell me you're good? Cool. Let's go. You're hired. Now, in 6 months, we're going to know.
Yeah.
If you're good
we'll
or
see.
not. But a resume can be the biggest lie, bunch of bull you ever saw. Or it might be the biggest truth you ever saw. I've always found there's so much, and I don't mind firing people. Like, hey, you're not happy you're not doing good and you're not happy. You're fired.
Yeah.
Go do something else. And actually, I'm doing you a favor because, life is too short. You shouldn't be hating this so much.
Yeah.
So maybe that's when you start hiring people, don't be afraid to let them go. If they're not happy, if they're not doing a good job, they may go to the next job and be happy and do a great job.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means in this situation, it ain't working.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of needed that validation because, yeah, you have something you want to achieve, and sometimes people get in the way of that. And
well, I think you need help. Like when you need help, you can't read resumes for 6 months. You need help today. You get one that looks good, and I would put way more weight on the in-person interview.
Yeah.
And I would ask them this question. This is my favorite question to ask in an interview. And I try to ask it. I don't care if I'm interviewing, like I was on the school board, if we were interviewing a superintendent, whoever. What's the hardest apology you ever had to make? You'll find something out about a person. Either they won't answer it. I don't know. Well, that tells me a lot about you. So like ask somebody questions like that. Yeah. That's my favorite one, but there's other illustrations.
Yeah.
I can tell you my hardest apology, like snap of a finger. I had to make it. People listening will know these people. I went over to a friend's house named Josh Stevenson. His mom's Jerry and Vicky Stevenson. And I don't know how old we are. Small, young, maybe 10, maybe older. They had a candy bar on the counter. Well, I ate the candy bar. Well, they came home, said, who ate the candy bar? Josh, you must have ate this candy bar. And Josh got in trouble. No, I didn't do it. And I'm just sitting over there the whole time, not saying anything. And I could have easily said, I'm the one who ate the candy bar. Well, I guess guilt finally, somehow or another, I tell Mom this story. And she says, well, you're going to apologize. And she made, there was this child care, and there was kind of some steps at the top, and like you can just kind of almost picture like a school building, and there's some steps at the top, and Vicky Stevenson is standing at the steps, and all the kids are gathered around, and I'm walking up the steps and just apologize and tell her the whole story that Josh didn't eat, I ate it, and you shouldn't have spanked him for it because I was the one who did it. And in my mind, there's 500 kids standing there listening. Could have been 2. It might have only been my brother, but I remember that was a very hard apology I had to make, but it shaped who I am today. So if somebody is vulnerable enough to tell you something like that, I think if somebody was interviewing me and they asked me that question and I told them that story, they have to think, this guy's probably going to be pretty good. At least he's going to be willing to tell us the truth about whatever it is that's going on. So, anyways.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough question.
Yeah. Can you answer it?
No.
Yeah, right. I mean, it might be unfair to expect an answer. I mean, right, especially off the cuff in front of a huge board of people. Yeah. I mean, I put some pressure on people. Like, I mean, even if they say I can't answer that, but that's the best question I've ever been asked in an interview, and I will have something. And I think one of them answered something like, you want to say, oh well, I cheated on my girlfriend in high school, and I had to go tell her I was sorry. Or, I don't know. Some of that's everybody's done that, or it's maybe embarrassing. You don't want to say you've done things wrong. Right. I also like, that illustrates to me there's a person over there that understands they do stuff wrong.
Right. That's it. You have to admit that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Well, there you go. There's some hiring philosophy in there too. Some of the best hires I've ever made, I probably wouldn't have hired them if it would have been based on resume.
Right.
So for anybody out there, a guy, one of the best employees, I don't even know why I say employees, partners in business, in work, was just not, tattoos, big hoop earrings, nose rings, just different than I have a mental picture in my head, thanks to growing up here, and it's just just this culture that somebody that does that to their body has something wrong with them,
Right.
which is total BS. It's not true. Like, I'm telling a story of one of the best people I've ever worked with that was like that. And I was like, man, I don't know if I should hire him. Hired him, best worker ever. Ended up going to a different job. Every time I saw him, tried to hire him. Hey, did you come back? I'll give you a raise. No, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Guess what? A couple years ago, he came back.
Oh, good.
And now he's back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like God's timing and those kind of things.
And give people a chance. So what goes into you are you seeking out people to interview for the podcast? Do you just take recommendations?
Well, it's just kind of a crazy, they just come along.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just happen. Now, I go seek some, like, I'm going to get to interview Clinton Anderson. I wanted to interview him. That sounds wrong. I want to interview everybody I interview.
Yeah.
He's one I've kind of chased a little bit.
Yeah.
Partially for marketing. You know, he has a big audience. If I get him on the show, there's a chance, and I know his audience is gonna like the stuff I do, the guests I have, the conversations we have. Almost all of them were just like, who is somebody I want to say thank you to?
Mm-hmm.
I interview that person. Gerald Burns is a good example. It was really fun talking to him. Billy Albin's another good example. There's a lot of them I want to interview. They ain't going to do it. Like, if you come up with a trick for that, I need to know. Please tell me. So valuable, so influential in my life. Shy, and just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So influential in not just my life, this whole community.
Mm-hmm.
Please come on the podcast. I don't know. I don't do podcasts. It sounds kind of foo-foo. I don't care. I mean,
yeah.
Come do it. And, just won't do it. Maybe it'll come around, but there's a lot of them that I'm not going to be able to. So I had to get over that. Like, they don't want to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sad. I'm sad about that, but all right, whatever. Try again in a year.
Yeah.
Like, just softly bring it up again. Maybe someday when it's supposed to happen, it will. Oh, I don't know. Somebody will say something in a Facebook post. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Everybody in town should be interviewed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not like a small group of
Yeah.
people I could interview. So, and then if you open it up to the world, it's just infinite.
Yeah.
I do not require any really prerequisite.
Yeah.
So I've interviewed everybody from this tech guy that farms beef up in, I think it's Oregon, maybe Idaho, to Mr. Wilson, my
Mm-hmm.
high school principal, mom, dad, my in-laws. I've got the best in-laws. Like, we talked about my family, where I was born to and came from, but my family now is them. My in-laws, they're as influential on my kids as my parents are. I've got the best ones. They're great. They help. They want to add momentum, but they don't want they don't give it to you. They want to see that you can earn it. So anyways, all of those things I just feel so blessed for, and am so blessed.
Yeah.
It's not that I feel it, it's true. My kids have the opportunity right now to know both sets of their grandparents, grandma and grandpa, both sides. I got to do that. I got to know both of mine. So all that stuff is just part of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and my journey and my blessing. And hopefully through some of the conversations, some of the things we talk about, whoever I talk to next. I was sitting here thinking, who do I even have up next? Clinton, you. There's some other kind of people in the community that I want to talk to. By the way, Juvenal, Clint Tunnel. There's some of these, they're just smart, great stories. I don't fully know them.
Yeah.
So we'll get around to that. And then I want to keep interviewing other, just people that have been out there and done big things, or at least things that are big according to what the world says.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of those people are like, I haven't even done that big of a
Exactly.
thing, and really I've not. I've took advantage of my situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been running into that too. I'll say, hey, I want to do a piece on you. And, oh, nobody cares about me. You'd be surprised.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes you feel like, am I nobody?
Yeah.
Because I'm standing here right now saying, I would love to hear your story and write a piece on you.
That's so
nobody
true.
cares about me. Well, okay. I guess I'm nobody.
Yeah. That's funny.
My mom taught me something kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever even actually had this thought and said it. See, this is what's so good about it. Mom said something about when people give you a compliment, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate them for that. That is not like, because I think I was a little kid. I didn't want to write thank you letters.
Yeah.
Or I didn't want to do something. She's like, you're going to do that because these people have given you of themselves, and you're going to be the kind of person that understands they've given something to you. So maybe that's kind of where that comes from. Kind of just like, if somebody said, if you want to do an article on me, I'll do it. Now, I don't battle the shy and as much as some people do, so I can understand that's harder. But you see something in me I might not even see, I'm going to thank you for that. Okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. It's opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, kind of.
We've been down the road quite a ways here.
Yeah.
Holy moly, hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I got to go pick my kids up from school.